Hello,
What's
everybody.
up, guys?
Welcome to another dirty episode of Three Men in a Podcast. I'm Claudio Capri. We got Angelo from the Ange TV show, and Luigi is MIA. He's with us somewhere in the fourth. Tonight, Ange, we have an amazing guest. We have Paul
Yes, we do.
Luca. He is an actor, comedian from Canada. Where exactly from Canada?
I'm from
Paul?
Toronto. Toronto.
Okay. Toronto. Okay.
Hey.
Good. So just before we get into it, guys, how was your day? Even people in the chat, please leave a comment, like, share, subscribe to Three Men in a Podcast. And just before we get on to this, June 23rd, ladies and gentlemen, I got my first comedy showcase coming back at Melrose in Little Italy. So message me for tickets if you want to come see me make a fool of myself.
I'm gonna pass by Claudio for sure.
Good, awesome. And also, Dirty Four open mic. We have a new location for that. It's in Montreal. It's going to be downtown on Crescent. That's all I'm going to say. So that's it. All right. So without further ado, before we get with Paul, Ange, do you have anything you want to add before we talk about some subjects?
Add on the subject or
in general, like
well, listen, I'm happy to be back. I missed last episode, right?
Yeah.
You did it with David Vigliotti, right?
That's right.
Well, listen, I'm glad to be back, and I'm happy that Paul's here because I had Paul last week on my show, the TV show, right? And it was more of like an interview, getting to know Paul. But today we could just like loosen up, talk about manly stuff,
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm excited for that. That's what
are you trying to say? We weren't talking about money stuff last week? Come on.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man. So, people, as I mentioned, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So, Paul, without further ado, sorry, I should have taken you off, but you know what? You're just smiling there as a handsome, beautiful
I like
guy.
dance. Yeah. So it gets a good got me going. Yeah.
Perfect. Oh, okay. Perfect. So, Paul. First of all, you're doing good. How's life these days? Like, I don't know if we're still out of COVID or not, but how's the COVID life treating you?
Well, we are not. We're almost out of lockdown, but I don't believe a word of that because it keeps getting pushed. So I've just been keeping busy and focused on my productions and my writing and whatever we have going on. I'm still doing self-tapes and things like this. So I'm keeping busy as an actor and comedian with the world that I'm in. My stuff lives online. So it's that's why I admire what you guys do. I've done stand-up before, but and I'm a huge fan of stand-up. It's just I really love the video making and the TV and film side of things. Even though I do love to be up on stage and with a live crowd.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I mean, you're amazing. I've seen a lot of your stuff, and I'm like, this guy's good. This guy is good.
The editing is next level. Like when
exactly.
It's just incredible.
Exactly. I mean, Paul, you're not like me and someone else that Ange and I know that use Windows Movie Maker. You use like incredible tools. I'm looking at.
I'm very particular with I love to edit. For me, like editing, I'm a guitarist too. For me, editing is like playing or writing a song on guitar. Like the possibilities are endless. Even if I wrote something one way, once I start editing it, sometimes it just turns into something else, and I love it so much. And I also help other creators. I do social media consulting and video editing as well for other creators and brands and businesses, and help them make their content pop as well.
Okay, cool. So so let's get into this. So obviously as an actor / comedian, obviously like everybody faces the stress. So the mental health of being an actor, from your perspective, like how do you deal with the positive and the negative?
I think it's really important, especially when you're auditioning. It's really important. Like I love to work hard on preparing the role, of course. And then once I do the self-tape or the audition, I just let it go. I try not to think about it. I prepare, I let it go. I'm just focused on what I can bring to it, and then I focus on the next project. That's what I keep myself busy with the other creative work that I have, so that you're not. Some people are just waiting from audition to audition, and that can get very, very depressing, and discouraging. So I'm very adamant about keeping myself busy and productive.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. And so what oh man, no, because I'm just reading my handwriting here, and something that I just write too quickly. I'm like, I think I scribbled. So so going with because you were mentioning, because I tried doing auditions as well, and then after that it's not like as you mentioned, it's not like some people it's depressing for them, but since you keep doing videos, like obviously let's focus a little bit on the negative here. Like how, like let's say you don't get a role, how do you deal with that? Like how do you, like what do you tell yourself for the next time you don't for the next time you need to prepare for your role but you didn't get the current role?
Well, again, like I said, I really try not to dwell on that. I think it's important that you don't, any actor, you know what I'm saying? Because look, that's what's great about social media. You pave your own way with it. It's a showcase of you showcasing your abilities in the best light that you have created. You know what I mean? And now, what's great about the industry is that they're finally looking at the type of presence you have online. Whereas just 2 or 3 years ago, they weren't doing that at all. It didn't matter how many followers you had. It's not just followers. It's about engagement. But there are so many negative aspects about being in the acting industry as well. Same thing with comedians. Some comedians are, and I'm not saying this personally to you or anything like that, but comedians are some of the most miserable people you can meet.
Really?
And I don't, I know many comedians, and I'm fortunate to know the ones that are like actually good with themselves.
Yeah.
They're not too dark, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of people suffer with it, like it's a mental health thing, and that's not to throw them under the bus with it. It's just very important that you have another type of outlet, whereas stand-up comedians, that's their outlet, right? And that's why it's good if they start taking advantage of stuff on social media to showcase their brand and what they do best. You can still do live stuff that I know it's very awkward, but you can still do live stuff that is kind of like your own stand-up show, and that's what a lot of people have been doing, which is great. But it's there are a lot of pockets you can fall into as an actor, and it's very difficult because it's so unstable. And so is comedy. You know what I mean? Comedy is so hard. Comedy.
It is.
Man, and that's why it's so important. We got to be able to pick ourselves up.
For sure.
Because at the end of the day, like when you're a comedian, like it's a numbers game. Not everybody's gonna laugh at your jokes. Not everybody's gonna find you funny.
No, it's you can't please anybody with anything that you do, though. And it's way harder when you're up there and you're not getting the laughs that you hope for. Of course, it's devastating, but it's still like important. It's still important to experience that. I can honestly admit that it's I've done stand up twice. The second time it was we had a sold out crowd, and I only had a 10-minute set, and it killed. It went very, very well, which I am grateful for. But I also know that if I kept doing it, there's going to be some nights where that just doesn't happen at all. So I'm kind of hungry for it. Like the first time I went up, it was kind of, I was okay because I was telling a story that I thought was funny. No one else did. Okay, screw you. You know what I mean? So I got off, and that was right before my big show. So I kind of I pushed myself to do it to try to get out the jitters. And I'm kind of glad that it semi-bombed up there because I went in there with a little bit, of cushion, I guess, just in case it didn't go so well. But it went very well the second time, and it definitely sucked when people don't think it's cool. But you can't do it for them. You really have to do it for yourself. And the people who laugh. And
Paul, we were saying about comedians, actually Claudia was saying there's a lot of comedians that get depressed. You know what I mean? And I don't know, they're popular for a long time, and then after they're not getting gigs or for whatever reason, they stop, right? So how do you get over that? Like, how do you get over not having the spotlight on you anymore?
Look, it's so easy. It's easier said than done, of course. I have a music, and you know this, but Claudia, I don't know if you know, I was in a big band for a long time in Canada. Montreal was our #1 support. We were called Neverest. We had 9 top charting radio songs, and it was like my dreams come true. It was the best time of my life. And when that came to a halt, it was like it could be very difficult. But I knew that it was happening, so I really tried to prepare myself. You have to soak it up while it's happening. Yeah. When things are going great, you really have to learn how to slow it down. A lot of people just say that, oh yeah, you got to slow down and be in the moment, but they don't know how to actually achieve that. And it takes practice. And it's gratitude, really. And anytime that we were on the road and on top of the world for 5 years, okay, and in those 5 years, every time I would come to a new city, but especially Montreal, I would pretend it would be like the last time I'd ever be there. And in doing that, it made me soak up that time even more. So when it did come to an end, I immediately knew to keep myself busy. I let myself feel the grief and the sadness. It's very important to that's what I would say to answer this question. First and foremost, you have to allow yourself to feel the sadness.
Nice.
Get it out. It doesn't matter if you cry or you need to, you just kind of want to chill to yourself for a while, but you have to let yourself feel it so you get it out of your system. But you also, even more importantly, have to pick yourself up and just let it go. Like, tell yourself, okay, I let myself feel this way. Now I'm ready to push myself to get back out there and be productive again and create something new. And that's what I did. I jumped right back into acting and found a great acting coach. I used to train when I was younger too, but I found an amazing coach here in Toronto. And then I started really leveraging my social media platforms and building my own comedy platform. And that kept my head happy. It kept me happy. It kept my head, my thoughts in a better place to be creative and keep creating. And it's been better than it's ever been, almost better than it was in the band, because I'm now, I personally built something that I'm more recognized for now than I was for the success of my band, which is incredible. For me, I'm humbled by that.
Yeah.
But I also know how hard I worked. So hard work, to answer your question, but also to let yourself feel that misery, if you will, and being able to pull yourself out of it is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because it's funny that you brought that up, like, especially with comedians, like, because I did a show with Massimo. Well, it was an open mic, right? And then, like, almost every comedian that came on, like, so this happened to me. And then Massimo's like, the fuck is up with this guy or this person? Like, how many broken people are on this show? And then I looked at Massimo, and then I'm like, bro, is that like your 6th beer? He goes, bro, don't worry about how many beers I'm having. And then he just chugs his beer, and I'm like, so clearly someone here is also broken, right?
Yeah,
so then
Massimo he's got stories.
He has a lot of stories.
We know each other. I don't know him deeply well. Like, I didn't grow up with him or anything like that. We connected maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But he really has a heart of gold, and he's such a good guy. And he is truly one of the funniest for me out there. And any sketch that we've done has been one of my favorites.
Oh, so, absolutely.
Yeah, he's really funny.
Him and Matthew Jafrida are two of my favorites from Montreal. And he is another guy I have great chemistry with. So sometimes you got to harness that, the sadness you might have, and you turn it into a crippling joke.
So, whatever. Actually, Paul, I have a question for you. Going with acting and auditioning and all that stuff, a lot of people, they say, I want to be an actor, okay? But they don't realize there's a lot more to it. It's not like you just go on, you get paid, you get a big fat check, and that's it, you're rich. There's a lot to it, right? I mean, at the beginning, you take courses, right? You take some kind of training, right?
You have to learn what it means to be an actor.
Of course.
You have to become someone. It's not pretending to be someone. You become, the best actors in the world have, the research they do. Like, Leonardo DiCaprio spent a year in South Africa before he did Blood Diamond, learning the language, learning the village, the people, just so he can come off as authentic as possible in his role for Blood Diamond, right? Even Adam Sandler did this for The Cobbler. The Cobblers Who Make Shoes, right? I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's not one of his biggest, but it's a great movie. It's kind of like Click, but he did that for a year. just made shoes for a year just to, you know, like live in it. You know what I'm saying? There are things like this, but it's really, you know, it's very important to be educated, to continuously read, not only keep up with the news, but learn about things. You know, we can Google anything right now. We can Google right now what it's like to be a fighter pilot. You know what I mean? Or an astronaut. We're not going to space. You know what I'm saying? But you can Google what those experiences are like and watch YouTube videos on it. And it's still like, it's just research. You're taking notes on how you can bring your flavor, your emotion, and some of your experiences to this other person.
Yeah,
it's really messed up, to be honest with you, because you're truly trying to become someone else, and you're imagining that too. You're creating more of it. It's really difficult sometimes to act as someone who really exists. You know, if it's like a biography or somebody from history, because you can read up on them in the end, but you know, it's best. You know, a lot of actors spend time with the actual person the movie's about, right?
It's like Heath Ledger, eh? He gave his life. He gave his life for that role. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they say he just mixed medications. That's what happened. But he was amazing in that role. And if you watch the biography about him on that, it's a lot lighter than you think. He was just a brilliant talent. Yeah, he didn't.
But I'm saying the reasons why he took those medications, which I'm guessing are probably antidepressants, or
it's because these guys, they don't sleep. They don't sleep, so they take something to sleep, and then they have to take something to wake up, and then it's like Michael Jackson. It's the same thing. You know what I mean? It's their lifestyles are so whatever. Now I don't know Heath Ledger. I've only seen the biography, and that's not the role that killed him. He'd already finished.
He did finish.
Right. The last movie he was filming was it's a big name. I can't remember it. It's one.
I'm not there.
No. It's like a fantasy type one.
Oh, the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus with the director by Terry Gilliam.
Yes.
That was a weird movie.
I haven't even seen it yet, but that's what he was filming.
Yeah.
And the night before he died or something like that, they had him hanging upside down again in the rain.
Yeah.
I don't know if he caught pneumonia, but he caught something, and his immune system was already low, and he was taking these pills to help him sleep properly and feel better, whatever. And it was a bad mixture. You know, he OD'd on. Yeah. I don't think he meant to, but he.
But these are very, very like subtle mistake, like subtle things that can happen.
Exactly.
When you're taking these type of things, right? Anything. Yeah. It's a very, very little subtle thing that it's unfortunate, but it happens.
But even as an actor, he was working with Nolan. You see him behind the scenes where like he was still like Heath Ledger. When the scene stopped, he's in the role. He can get, but he gets in, and the way he would get into his role and prepare. I don't know if you guys remember. I don't mean to start talking about Heath, but you brought up a great point, because that scene where he's in the hospital with Two-Face, and it's the first time that Harvey Dent sees him. Okay.
Yeah.
Aaron Eckhart said that before that scene started, Heath Ledger was just pacing back and forth, and he was talking to himself, and he was doing, he was getting whatever, and he was just ramping up. They didn't say a word to each other, right? So when the scene started, he starts the scene, and there's a part where Aaron Eckhart, Two-Face, he raises his hand. He goes to like hit the Joker. That's not planned whatsoever. And Heath caught it like this, and he just kept going. It's the scene that's in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay? And he caught it. And he just, I think that's what he's talking about, upsetting the established order and stuff like that. Offering some anarchy. You know what I mean? And he's talking about that. And at the end of that scene, he came up to Aaron Eckhart after he put his arm around him, and he goes, "No, that's fucking acting," like, because he just went with it, right? Yeah. And that's what actors do. You have to. Not only are you embodying this person, but you have to. Go with the impulses in the scene.
Yeah.
And you do unexpected things. The actor might do something, and you have to listen. Listening is the heartbeat of acting.
Mm-hmm.
So just like it is the heartbeat of real life too, except most of us, you hear me talking right now, but you're both probably thinking about the next thing you're going to say, right? We all have that problem where we're not actually listening fully until the person is stopped, and then we can ask the question, because it's like, and acting is the exact same way. You have to like pay attention to what the other person is doing, because just because the lines are on the paper does not mean that's, the actor brings life to that.
Yeah.
So amazing things can happen, and when you go with that magic, you get scenes like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. And you know what? You brought up a really good point. For example, another one's DiCaprio in Django Unchained, right? When he was towards the end, when he broke his hand. Yeah. I mean, like when I first saw it, I'm like, man, those are some really good visual effects. And then you're like, no, it was actually DiCaprio. Like, he broke his hand. Like,
he cut his hand on the glass. And then he cut it, and then he wiped it all over her face. You remember that?
Yeah.
She did not know. She didn't expect that. So her horror on her face is real.
Yeah.
It's real because she realized what he was doing. It's his actual blood on his face, and they didn't talk about that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Whatsoever, but they kept rolling, and they just went with it, right?
That was that. Yeah, that's amazing. And then you have actors like Vin Diesel. You know, he says like, this is for my family. And then the ninth one's like randomly has his brother. I'm like, where did this guy come out of? You know?
They're going to space in the ninth one.
Oh yeah, they do.
I swear to God, that's what apparently they're doing. Hilarious.
Nice. So Paul, who are your favorite actors that you look up to, that motivate you, that tell you, you know what? Cliche thing, if they can do it and so can I, but like, who do you look up to?
I mean, I grew up with a lot of the same guys you guys probably love. I grew up with on Robin Williams and Jim Carrey and Mike Myers and Adam Sandler and Ben Stiller. All the greats. You know what I'm saying? As far as who's doing their own thing and whatever. But I today in the acting world, I absolutely love Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds is hands down. Yeah. He has been forever since I was a kid.
Yeah.
No, maybe like late teens. Okay, whenever Van Wilder came out, and I just loved his humor, and I found it similar to the type of stuff that I kind of did even then, and how we were. He kind of reminded me of his own type of Jim Carrey vibe with like his own thing, whatever it was. But his sarcasm and the way he is, and just I hear that he's such a great guy. And he just, I really would love to work with him at some point.
Same.
And then I love other people who aren't necessarily comedic actors, but are funny because of how great they are in a serious role.
Okay.
Much like Johnny Depp, and oh my God, so many. So I can't even, think of who. I enjoy so many different actors. I just hard to pick.
Okay. Oh, I have a question for you. Have you ever been on set of anything, commercial, a movie, and you just had a meltdown? Like you were just like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing.
No.
Like the director wasn't feeling you. No, that never happened.
I mean, there's always I've been on set where the director is not working with you. They're like working. They're supposed to work with you, but they're like mad.
Showing their discontent.
And it's like, and then it's hard because then you have that tension on set, and people are like, But that was only like once, I've pretty much had good experiences on sets. Otherwise, I wouldn't take on a role unless I was prepared for it. But a lot of things change last minute too, and you got to be. Yeah. You got to know you're not only your character, but you got to you have to have a profound understanding of the scene that you're filming.
Yeah.
That's how you prepare a scene, even for an audition. You have to have a profound understanding of what exactly is happening in the scene. How do you feel? How do you feel about this person? What's it smell like in here? What happened before this? What happened after that? Who is this person to me? You create the other person's dynamic until you're actually acting off the actor. There's a lot of these techniques that you learn with proper acting training that you have to tap into. But I do find that I'm not a big fan of a lot of actors in general, because I find that a lot of actors have no idea who even they are. Okay?
Vin Diesel.
I'm just saying, we're talking about mental health, right? And it's so important to learn how to be honest and vulnerable with yourself, because people can only know you or understand you as deeply as they understand themselves. Okay. Yeah. And the way to better that is by truly being honest with yourself about your own life and things that you do and how you are, what kind of person you are, and what kind of person you want to be. And a lot of actors, they play a lot of different people, but when you meet them, they're some of the flakiest people you could meet. They have no idea. They're here for it. If you're not talking about something interesting enough, they're gone already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the whole industry. Casting directors are like that. Other directors.
Yeah.
But for me, I go to do the work. Let my work speak for itself. Okay. Yeah. I want to create a genuine moment with you. If we were networking right now, I'd want to have a laugh with you guys. Just like we were talking, we're shooting the shit right now. We're just talking.
Yeah.
And that's more important to me than, that last movie you did, it was one of my favorites. Like, I can't believe, like if I met Bill Murray, who I love, you know what I'm saying, or anything like that, I don't want to talk to him about the movies that I know he knows I love.
Yeah, you want to talk. You want to talk genuine. You want to. You want to chill, have some conversation.
How's it going? You know, what are you doing?
Whatever's happening there. You know, maybe. Yeah. Bill Murray's got some of the best stories. Like he'll take. You've heard he's taking like a fry off of somebody's plate, and they look at him, and he eats one of their fries, and he's like, "Nobody's gonna believe you." That's so funny.
That's true. That's true. Well, I mean, yeah.
Genuine moments, man.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're right. No, and again, like let's talk about another actor like in this topic, like James Gandolfini, who's to this day is one of my favorite. Like he's the reason why I got into this whole film thing, and just seeing his character, especially as Tony Soprano on The Sopranos, like just saying, like him breathing and him saying, "Oh, we gotta understand, it's a very difficult fucking situation." Just the way. Just the way he talks, like, the other day I was with my wife, that bitch, like, just the way, like, and then seeing him off camera, a completely different human being. And then, like one of my favorite movies that he's done was The Drop. It was his last movie with Tom Hardy, and honestly, that was one of my favorite movies because, listen, he did sound again like Tony Soprano, right? And then he did. Like in that movie, it was just like it's fun. I mean, it's not really fun, but it's great to see, James taking on a character which is like went from a known mob guy to an everyday guy who tried to make a name for himself. Then you had him in Killing Them Softly with Brad Pitt, where he just played an alcoholic. It just
his presence.
Exactly. Exactly. Like when you see him on screen, whether he's a protagonist or an antagonist, has a little role, it's James. He's going to go, well, today, was my wife. And then when you see him not talking that way, it gives you like the whole, oh my God, like, there's like this guy's really into his role, like, and for example, like, let's talk local, right? Local, not crazy. Like when I saw Massimo, working, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I mean, at first it was Massimo being Massimo, but then like, when he had to do a scene where he had to, kill, I just in his eyes, he just turned like off a camera work.
Very good. He's very, very good. And he's in a lot of big shows and series and movies. He was across from Hugh Jackman in X-Men Days of Future Past. Unbelievable. Yeah. Okay? And not unbelievable, really. It's great. He did a great job. I'm saying he was just so great, and sometimes I'll just see him. I'll be watching a show that I didn't know he was in, and he'll be in some funny situation, or he'll be in just his underwear and he's like eating an ice cream, like it's funny. He's so funny, man. He just he's one of my favorites. I definitely look up to him.
Oh, same here. And actually, Ange, you never answered the question because we both did. Who are your actors that you look up to, Ange?
Like I said, I'm not a big like movie buff as much as you, Claudio, but actors I look up to. James Gandolfini for sure. Yeah, I think it was extremely underrated, and I think people are only realizing now this guy is a legend, you know what I mean? So, but growing up, guys, honestly, I had to go with the comedy guys. Growing up in the 90s, to me, guys, it's like 90s and early 2000s. After that, comedy, like in movies, went out the window. I'm sorry, but like you can't compete with Waterboy. Waterboy was one of my favorite movies.
Oh, yeah.
Like Adam Sandler movies were made. Now they kind of got diluted. But at the beginning, man, he was on a roll. I loved, what's his name? Rob Schneider. Love that guy. Eddie Griffin was really funny.
Oh, yeah, Eddie Griffin, yeah.
What's the other guy's name? Dr. Dolittle. Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy, very funny. Those type of people. I'm more of a comedy guy when it comes to
and they're legends in their own right too. And
exactly.
Comedians who are branching, like I love Sebastian, of course.
Nice
right? And I love. I also love Robert Downey Jr., who I meant to say before, because he's another guy when like I feel everything he says. And honestly, I also enjoy Tom Cruise the same way. Some people go for it. Tom Cruise has got this intensity in his eyes that I believe everything Tom Cruise says. So I think he's fantastic too. And you know what? Tom Cruise is the only actor that's literally pushing himself and everything he does to the limits. If you see Mission Impossible, he's really flying all that stuff. They're doing death-defying things. The new Top Gun movie is all actual footage of all the actors in these planes.
Yeah.
They're pulling real G's and they're still reciting their lines, and it's unbelievable. And I also heard that he's actually, this is true, he's trying to get a movie shot in space as well.
Yeah.
Really?
He is. Yeah. And sorry, Paul, we are gonna say something. Since we like you're right, especially Tom Cruise. Like, what I love about I saw the making of, because I always loved the making of films.
Same.
Like Top Guns, he's working again with John Krasinski, who they did Oblivion with, and Tom was saying they took 2 IMAX cameras, strapped them on a jet. And then when Tom Cruise is for takeoff, that's not a green screen. I'm like, Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
You know what? And this is the thing. I know I'm gonna bring I'm bringing this back to Vin Diesel, but I say at least Tom Cruise is, when you're seeing he's doing all this. Vin Diesel, I'm like, wow.
You don't like him.
No, he used to be one of my favorite actors, but then because this is gonna sound like a suck, but I admire Dwayne Johnson as well. Especially
I love Dwayne Johnson. Absolutely.
Especially when he was in wrestling. I admired how passionate he was. I admire and then for acting, he just changed. When I see Dwayne Johnson, I see Dwayne Johnson. I don't see The Rock. And that's for me. But then when they got on F8, and then we were hearing stories about how Vin was late and he was jealous. Yeah. And I'm like, God damn. So I'm admiring.
He was jealous of The Rock.
Yeah.
Wow.
There was what they both felt was disrespectful stuff happening apparently, and
egos set in.
He The Rock is the type of guy. He's there to work. He's there on time. He's there to work. Apparently, who knows the real story? But that what I heard is that Vin he would not show up. He would be hours late. It's like that's time and money, man.
Yeah, of course.
People are waiting on set. They got to get going. They only have a certain amount of time to shoot something. So that is disrespectful. You know what I mean? I don't know. Just like how Madonna, she's always 2 hours behind when her concerts. She doesn't go on until fucking midnight.
Yeah,
really?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's done that lots of times here, and people know that about her. The show's supposed to start at 9. You know what I mean? And never mind the opening act. She's supposed to come out then, because normally you have to be off stage by 11 because it costs like $10,000 per minute, every minute after the sound curfew.
Wow.
I'm serious. At these arenas, okay? And some ridiculous number like that. And she comes on at 12. 12. People were pissed. They had to go to work the next day, this and that, whatever. This is
exactly.
It really happens all the time.
Really?
Oh, yeah. But people still go after her. Yeah. I mean, no, not after her, but people still follow her. Just in case there's something that there's, oh my God, Claudia, Yeah. But no, that's ridiculous. Oh man, and then here I am rushing on set. I'm like, shit, I gotta make it in an hour, or But then whenever I get on set, it's always delayed because actors are really late, so I have to wait 2 hours once.
But how does it work if you're late? Like, let's say, okay, you're a lead role or you're a supporting actor. You come in late. Do you get penalized or something? Like, how does that work?
I don't know. It depends on what this.
Yeah, exactly.
That is, you really should never be late.
Exactly.
You should go up early, and you should come ready with a ton of ideas.
Exactly.
Tom Hanks is another great actor. He's that's what he has always said. He goes, I always show up to work with a head full of ideas and ready to go with what I'm doing, right? Because even though there's a script, you're still showing up to bring life to the character, and sometimes a scene doesn't work the way they thought, so they have you do it another way. Like in Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, the epic scene where he's dancing in the bathroom after he killed those guys, like that was completely improvised.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about being late that you were saying? When I had James C. Burns on, I told him, come 15 minutes before the podcast. Then he tells me, no. He goes, I'm going to come an hour before, because if you come 15 minutes before, you're technically an hour late. And it's true. It resonated with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it has something to do with tonight. Thank God we started at 8:30 on time, because I'm like, oh crap.
My audio was a bit.
Yeah, no, I'm good. No,
my God.
But yeah, no, it's just like even people in the chat, do you agree with what we're saying? Do you not agree? Don't let us know you're here as well. So that's it. So Paul, I know this is gonna be a cliche question because I have a lot of questions because No joke. Like actually, you're actually one of my favorite people, like actors.
Oh, thanks, man. That means the world to me.
Oh, thanks for doing this. What if you had a dream role?
Yeah.
What would it be? Like if you had a like gangster film role and a superhero dream role, or a comedy.
I'm a huge superhero nerd. I love that stuff. But my dream role would be to be like a pinnacle comedic, like on something like Friends or Big Bang, like one of the main lead characters on a successful sitcom. That would be hands down one of my goals and my dreams. I'm writing my own sitcom with my comedy partner. We have a pilot and everything ready, but I still am, I think I would thrive in a role like that, and to do comedic movies as well. I also am not. I love drama too. Like it's not like I'm not into any of that stuff. I think I could really pull that off as well. But I really, I just see myself on a really successful comedy show.
Nice.
I've always done. Yeah, it's the same way I saw the success of my band before it happened all my life. I know it sounds weird and it sounds cheesy and like anyone can say that, but I swear to God, anything that I envisioned, anything that I put so much mental energy into and that like I really just tried to see in my head first, every day I would wake up and I would just say, what is one more little thing that I can do today to better my odds? The odds are always against us, always. So it's just about how do you better your odds, okay? It doesn't guarantee anything, but at least I'm bettering my odds. Because if I want to be a fucking rock star, but I don't learn how to play guitar, I'm never going to be a rock star. Okay, let's say, right? Sorry, excuse my French.
Well, you're a rock.
But the point is, I'm very big on seeing it, writing it down, and doing things that I think will bring me one step closer to that what seems impossible thing to make it possible. Because I've already done that. I've proven it to myself. Everyone can do this. Everyone. There's no secret other than just believing in it and like keeping your thoughts forward thinking and positive. You're always going to have negative thoughts. You're always going to have bad days. But again, like I said, it's how you get back up. Like The Rock says, like Rocky himself says. It is about how you get back up and how you keep moving forward. And that's always just been how I've run my life. I do the stuff that makes me up. That's another reason how I stay happy. We're talking about mental health. That's another reason that I'm happy. I just keep doing what I'm doing. It's not like I'm rich. Oh my God, it's not like I'm rich. You know what I mean? It's just, it's a struggle. It's always a constant struggle with anything in this industry. You guys know. But I don't regret anything. I'm still so happy I've pursued everything I've done because I still always feel like it's right there. And then something wonderful happens, and then I capitalize on it. And it never happens the way you think it's going to happen. That's another thing I always say. I'm a very big believer of allowing your blueprint to change. Everybody thinks their dream is going to happen this one way, but it never happens that way. And then they get discouraged and they most likely quit. But if they focused on what they really love and the why of why they want to do it, they're like, why do you want to be this actor, the successful actor, or whatever it is? And you find a really pure reason because it lights you up. It's what you love. That you're the happiest you ever have been while you're doing it. That's your focus. And then everything else will fall into place as long as you keep bettering your craft and focusing. And then the way the big break happens will happen in a way you never expected. And it will be so much more glorious than you ever could have imagined it. That's what happened with me in Everest, with my band before that. I took a leap of faith and joined a band that I never would have thought I joined, playing music I never thought I would play, playing an instrument I never thought I'd play, and singing. None of us were singers, and we became known for our 4-part harmonies because we took a leap of faith to challenge ourselves, to grow as people and musicians, and we found each other. And we put it together properly. We had a real business plan. We had a great team. We had a Backstreet Boy as a manager. You know what I mean? We had all of these things working for us, but in the end, it still came down to us proving that we were the real deal.
Nice.
And we were, because we could sing, play, doesn't matter if it was a cappella or guitars and whatever, and we had a nice polished sound and look and whatever, and it was, and it worked. It was just, I always thought I would make it in my hard rock band, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I said yes to something that scared me in all the right ways, the most amazing, profound things happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't change a second. I'm so happy I did it, because if I didn't, I probably would have been really miserable and not have done anything with music. But you know, even saying that, I would have found a way to prevail, because you can't just quit.
No,
where
exactly.
did you tour, Paul? Like, where exactly? You toured in Canada, but anywhere in the States?
Yep, we did tour in the States. We weren't able to break in the States, meaning we couldn't license our stuff in the States to be to be very successful at radio there. But we did do very big things in the States. We were in LA a lot, and New York. We did Good Day New York, and the biggest thing we ever did, still to date, is singing singing our Canadian anthem at the NBA All-Star Game in 2012. You can find it on YouTube anywhere. That's the biggest platform we've ever had, and there were 500 million people watching, with every celebrity you can imagine right in front of us. You know what I mean?
Nice.
And we're there representing our country. So for us, for me, it was like just incredible. And then we toured. We toured Germany and the UK, and we got to see Kenya and Nicaragua, because we did a lot of charity work and helped build some schools and stuff. We got to do a lot of amazing things with the success of our band, but it was mostly because we were all really grateful, humble guys. We weren't your typical like party alcoholic, drug addict type guys. You know, we worked our asses off, especially when we saw success. So
yeah. You're right, because there's one point that you mentioned, like you're doing this because you love it. And one of the things I hear, whether there are people trying comedy for the first time or wanting to get into films or showbiz, and this is the answer that really, well, in a way, pisses me off. Right? It says, so why are you doing this? Oh, because you can make a lot of money out of this. Like I knew a guy like a few years ago. He wanted to get into comedy, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, so why you want to get into comedy? Oh, bro, it's because it's quick cash. It's gonna be. So this guy, I swear to God, did 3 or 4 open mics. Okay, and we're talking in a span of like weeks. I don't remember how exactly. And then he starts telling me, goes, okay, bro, I'm ready to headline. I'm like, bro, do you know how this works? Says, no, I don't care, bro. Me have jokes which you took off the internet. And then he goes, no, I'm ready to headline. I have an hour of material. And I'm like, wow, okay. I'm like, how much do you want to sell these tickets? $30.
Did he do it?
Oh, he did it.
And how was it?
So you see, I have this window next to me, Paul. Man. See, now I bringing back the story. I'm trying to decide if I jump out of this window, will I survive?
Okay.
But here's the thing, like it pisses me off, right? Even like people who want to get into the podcast business too, is like, oh, why you want to get into podcast? Well, you can make good money out of them. They try to do 2-3 episodes, and they end up failing because they don't understand the craft, right?
Yeah,
they don't understand like the struggles. They don't understand the anxiety. They don't the headaches, the sacrifices, a lot of sacrifices, preparing. Like
communication back and forth.
Yeah, like someone's like, oh, I want to be a really big actor, but I'm like, do you know how to? It goes, oh, I just have to read the script and deliver the lines. I'm like, bro, I want to toss you out of a window, but that's the thing, and it pisses me off, right? And also, like it doesn't really, like, it just aggravates me a bit how there's like not a lot of hardworking people who get where they want to be, but then there's like hardworking people like us, like we're working our asses off, and we're still at point E while they're already at point D, C or D, and I'm like, it's a real shame.
That's the way of the business. It's always been like that. It's especially like that in music. You know how many great bands there are that never got their shot at a major platform?
Exactly.
It's the same thing, man. But that's why you look, as much as it is aggravating to think about it when you compare it as such, to compare it is poison.
Yeah.
You really have to get out of the mindset of comparing yourself to other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Comparison is a killer, man. And it doesn't matter. The reason it doesn't matter, because you should be focusing on what makes your stuff great. Mm-hmm. What do you love about your stuff? Instead of worrying about what someone else is going to say is good of your stuff, What do you like?
Mhm.
Now that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be taking notes about people you admire, or and maybe I like what they do there, and maybe I can put that into my sketch in a way that makes it my own. Stuff like this. You can take notes, but in the end, you cannot compare your success to anyone else's stuff.
Oh yeah,
Everyone's
absolutely.
path is different. Everyone's path is different. I've been doing
Absolutely.
this too for years, and I know people who put in way less work than I, and they're making a living off of YouTube, doing horrible sketch comedy stuff, and it's like, it's typical trending stuff, 10 types of guys at the gym, you know what I mean, kind of shit, right? And it's like, that's not funny to me, unless this person delivers it in a way like it's a true story, like this is what they say, and I understand why it does well because it's relatable, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But and great for them. You know what I'm saying? It's just you can't make that the focus, because then you're taking away from your productivity.
Yeah.
And I truly am a big believer of allowing your work to speak for itself, and constantly having to adapt.
Yeah.
I
always say, if you're looking for negativity, you will find it.
Yeah, it's positive. That's just, most of us, we're all kind of wired to be negative first, and it's like a chore to be positive for some reason. But the more you do it, the more it exercises your brain to do it easier. But our brain is like, it's a muscle like anything else. Okay, you have to exercise your positive thoughts and your forward thinking. It's like you can't go into the gym and bench 500 pounds without training. You have to train. You have to train a lot to get to that point. It's the same thing with thinking positively. The second, I always catch myself when I'm thinking something negative. Always. Mm-hmm. And the fact that split second where I do catch myself, I know that I can change it from there. Because that's the only thing we control, how we react to things. And if you can catch yourself, then you know that you're on a better path. Because you will keep catching yourself, and you'll stop complaining about shit, and you'll just do stuff.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, So all that matters is what you think of yourself, and you have to work on. You got to work on making sure you love yourself. You do.
Yes, exactly. You know what? You're bringing up a very important point. And again, I'm always comparing, I know comedy on film is a bit different than stand-up comedy, but again, like Massimo, before we did Bad Fellas, asked me this question. He goes, why do you want to do comedy? And I'm like, well, to make people laugh. He goes, why do you want to do comedy? To make people laugh. No, bro. Again, he kept asking me this. He goes, one day you're gonna come to me and you're gonna tell me why you want to do comedy, right? And then also relating this, when I started, like I was garbage, and people like you're not you on stage, right? This like energetic, loud Italian guy is not you on stage, right? So then, I told myself, you know what? I gotta stop being scared. I gotta stop, I gotta stop pretending to be someone else that's not me, right?
Right.
And then I went back to Massimo, and I'm like, Massimo, because I want to do comedy for me. And I told him, he goes, okay, why are you telling me this? Well, you told me to tell you this a while ago. Oh, I don't remember, but good job. Like, God damn it, Massimo. But it's just a thing, like again, like Massimo, like really put me in perspective. He goes, you're really funny, but something's holding you back, man. Like those jokes are about your family, whatever. Like they're holding you back. Like I'm not seeing you. And then Bad Fellas was my first big show that I've ever done. Mm-hmm. And then like before the show, he comes up to me with his alcoholic breath, but I wasn't alcohol talking. And he was telling me, he goes, don't be afraid. Even if you don't get those pops, which was laughter, he goes, just be you. People are paying money to see you. So, in that case, it worked, right? And then, like, even doing the sketches, while I did one sketch and stuff, it's like, people, even in entertainment, like, besides you playing, an actor, a character, people are paying money because, like, oh, well, let's see what Paul could do, or let's see what Ange could do, let's see what Claudio could do, right, with this character or multiple characters. So, I'm a big believer in that as well. It's like, don't be afraid to show what you need in order to have something come true. By the way, in my head, that sounded right. So coming,
right. The point that you're making is making it genuine to you.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can't. And I understand why you felt like you had to be a different persona when you're on stage or whatever. But when you do tap into really making it your own and allowing yourself to be telling the jokes and going in and out of the characters, it's still you doing it. Like I was telling Ange last week too. Like with all of my sketch comedy, the highest compliment that I do get, that's very humbling to me, is that people actually reach out to me, strangers reach me to say, I say that your comedy is very genuine. It comes out genuine. Some people might hear that and be like, what does that even mean? Okay, he's playing different roles and whatever. But to me, anything, my most absurd character to my more realistic character, all have aspects of me in it.
Yeah,
these are amplifications of aspects of my personality, so I can play them realistically, for me. And I only put up stuff that I think is genuinely funny. That's all. If other people laugh at me, it's a bonus, which is I'm lucky that they have. But for me, just like Massimo was trying to get at, I do it for me, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why it's so unique to people for anything. That's why every actor we love has paved the way for themselves, because there's something that they did that they brought their charm to something that we watched and it struck a chord. Massimo is himself on stage too, and he's fucking great at it, and he's even like that in person, so that it's real. So when I haven't seen one of your acts yet, I would love to. But I'm sure, you seem very confident and comfortable with yourself anyways, and how you're talking now, I can tell that you've definitely made some great progression, and I'm very happy for you. And that's important because, what a superpower it feels like you have, you just go up there and you do you, and you really almost, it's all, a lot of it's also just learning not to care, about what people are going to think. You know your material. You're just going up there to tell stories that you think are funny. That's it. When you make that the goal, you're out there entertaining yourself, and in turn, people are laughing.
Yeah, so exactly.
It is a beautiful thing. It definitely is a superpower.
It is. And Ange, do you have any other? Can't even talk. Do you have any other questions that you want to ask Paul?
I do have a question here. We were talking about Tom Cruise a bit. We were talking about the dangers of being on set, filming movies, acting, depression, stuff like that. My question to you, Paul, is all this stuff that we see with like Jackie Chan doing all these they seem to be dangerous stunts. Tom Cruise doing these crazy stunts. Is the danger real, Paul? Is there? It is.
Guys like that, look, they hire a lot of stuntmen to do it, and when an actor has a stuntman, they usually keep the same stuntman for any production they do. But guys like Tom Cruise and Jackie Chan, they are known for doing their own stunts. And they do them well. Like Tom Cruise literally has, for that one Mission Impossible, he can hold his breath for more than 6 minutes. Okay? And that's a Navy SEAL thing. Like they taught him, maybe not Navy SEALs, there's some military grade thing that he trained with, and they taught him how to do that. And he actually does it. It's about slowing down your heart rate and blah, blah, blah. I don't know how, right? And he had to do that because they filmed this water tank scene all in one shot. That's the novelty of it. That's what they wanted to do with it. And he held it for 6 minutes from jumping into it's unbelievable. And so these guys, and he really, like Claudia was saying, he's really hanging off the side of that plane in Mission Impossible. Okay, for real. That's all real stuff. Like the Top Gun stuff too. So there are a lot of people who do that. Of course, it's dangerous. But who's a great example of that? I know that we're all wrestling fans here, and I was just watching the biography, because I loved them growing up too. But Mick Foley, all right, blew up with Mankind, Dude Love, and Cactus Jack because he was actually doing all of these things. Yeah. Okay. He was actually bleeding, actually getting hit with the fire and the barbed wire and being thrown off the tables, and he was breaking himself and still continued. That epic match between him and The Undertaker, the cage match, you got to see it.
I saw it. It was so...
Yeah, and when you hear Undertaker talk about it and him talk about it, they were shitting themselves, right? And he was pleading with him for 2 weeks before that thing. He was saying to Undertaker, like, just throw me off the cage, throw me off the cage. The cage's like 50 feet high, okay? Yeah. And he threw him off, and Undertaker did not want to do it. Anyways, he did it. They thought he was dead. Everybody, including McMahon, came out. The whole team came out. They whatever. And Undertaker's like muttering on his breath, like, please, Mick, move. And he's standing on the cage, still trying to stay in character, blah, blah. And then he starts moving, and they take him off, like, to the other stretcher. And then he gets off the stretcher and comes back for more. He comes back for more, and then Undertaker he climbs the top of the cage again, and then Undertaker ends up throwing him through the cage, which they did not plan. Okay? And he falls through the cage onto the ring, and the chair fell in with him, and it smashed his tooth into his nose. Okay? And, like, Undertaker's like, listen, man, like, and they're talking to each other when he gets back down there. Like, they thought he died again. 3 times he almost died in this thing, and Undertaker's like, you don't have anything else to prove. My point is, some guys put their mind, soul, and body on the line so far that you just have to admire and respect what they do, because there really is no substitution for the real thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? Yeah. And that's why how wrestlers always get upset if anybody calls it fake. The wrestling's not fake. You know what I mean? The storyline might be fake.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah, a lot of times it's real. Okay? But, who wins the match might be, predestined. But in the end, they're really taking the beatings, and actors like Tom Cruise and Jackie Chan are the same. That's how they don't have to superimpose their faces on stuntmen's bodies, and Tom Cruise actually broke his ankle in the last one. You can see
the 7th one.
Yeah, they kept that shot in the film. It's incredible. You know what I mean? That's so it really comes down to how dedicated you are. But also, you don't have to do that. There are stuntmen, and they can make it look with great editing. I know that they can make it seem seamless. So,
it was it's just incredible. That match was, holy crap. That, like, I was watching it, I'm like, god damn, like if it was me, I'd be passed out.
He threw him through on the tacks after that.
Yeah.
That's the 3rd blow, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of that, they walked him back to the match. The match ended, and they walked him backstage, and Vince McMahon walked up to him and he said, Mick, I want you to know that I appreciate everything that you've just done for this company, but I never want to see that again.
Oh, he said that?
Oh, yeah. Because he doesn't want them to hurt themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
He just pushed the limit, and it turned out to be one of the most historical, epic matches of all time. Okay?
Wow.
And at the time, like, the star power just blew up. You know what I mean? And a guy like Mick Foley, Vince McMahon is making hand over fist money off a guy like Mick Foley, because that's 3 action figures right there.
Yeah.
You like Cactus Jack and Mankind and Mick Foley even. Okay? Yeah. And then you have the Socko thing, everything. Just brilliant. Yeah, and there's so many we could talk forever about that shit.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, because for SummerSlam, I had a few of my favorite ones that I really loved, and like Batista is what not only is my favorite actor, but just the way he fought in his last SummerSlam with Triple H. I'm like, that is epic. It takes dedication, and I'm not only talking about all those those wrestlers that we named, but wrestling in general, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you don't do something crazy like what Mick Foley did, even if it's minor, like getting punched in the face or getting slapped on the chest or getting thrown on a wrestling mat, it's. Yeah, we're taking a beating. Like, it's not going to be, hopefully it's not going to be life-threatening, but crossing your fingers that, you hopefully walk out of the ring, maybe with a limb, a limp.
Yeah, they've all had such bad injuries.
Yeah, for sure.
All the top.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
With it.
Yeah, I want to become a wrestler, but I'm like, not anymore. But
it's like Owen Hart that came in, and he fell there. It's like anything could happen, like.
Yeah, crazy. Exactly. It's crazy. So we reached our 15 minutes, our hour point. Ange, do you have anything you want to add?
All I want to say is thanks, Paul, for coming. Listen, you really you there's multiple times tonight that you said things that I had no idea. I had no idea existed. Like the thing about Mankind there, I never saw it that way because I was young when I was watching it.
Yeah. Nobody did.
Never saw it that way, dude. Like, you just opened a whole new kind of whoop ass, if you want to say.
No, but you guys are a pleasure to talk to, and it's cool to just shoot the shit and talk about all the stuff that we love. I love nerding out about anything like this: film, TV, comedy, superheroes, you name it. Music, of course. I'm a big nerd fan, and I'm proud of it. So and more of us, your show's about mental health. More of us need to do stuff like that. without judgment of ourselves. Never mind what other people would think about it, because especially during these times, we need these little escapes, and we need to do things that make us feel great.
Yeah.
So.
For sure. So Paul, do you have anything coming up? Anything you want to plug in? Where can people find you?
Just that you can add me on Instagram and TikTok. It's just my name, Paul LaDuca, or on YouTube, anywhere really. I have another comedy duo, Paul and Stella Comedy. That's the girl you see me do all this stuff with. We have a comedy series that we're trying to get greenlit, so that's something that we're excited about. But for the most part right now too, like I said before, I am helping a lot of other creators, actors, comedians, whatever, who are looking to build their brand online and make their content pop. I'm doing consulting for that and
nice.
A lot of the manual work for it. So I'm happy to help you. If you want to reach out to me, you could just shoot me a DM or an email or anything on Instagram. You can get a hold of me.
Nice. And Ange, do you have anything?
I just wanted to ask, is there any stand-up comedy coming or any possibility?
Yeah, for you, Paul.
I would love to do more stand-up. It is another goal of mine, but it's not in the forefront for me. But I will say no, because I thrive in front of a crowd. It's my favorite, especially coming from the band days. It's a whole different monster, which I have respect for when you're doing stand-up by yourself, because you're not up there with your 4 other buddies. You know what I'm saying? Compared to a band, but I would definitely love to do some more. I still have my own little pipe dream about doing a Just for Laughs gala
cool.
at the St. Denis Theater. I got to play there with my band, but I didn't get to perform any comedy there with them. So I'm excited to take on new things like that. Maybe this year, maybe next year when it gets better. Hopefully.
Nice. No, I know you're gonna do very well. Because you're a funny guy, Paul. You're a funny guy.
Man. Thank you very much. Or you. I appreciate it.
Thanks. So ladies and gentlemen, this has been our episode 11. Although we do this bi-weekly because I have a comedy show June 23rd. So we'll keep you up to date when episode 11 is going to be here. So follow Paul, follow Ange, follow Luigi, and follow myself as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please leave a comment. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we're going to be back here next time. Have yourselves a good night. Stay safe. And we'll get back to you. Paul, if you want to stay a bit more after we go off, we could talk. So have yourselves a good night. And see you all later. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Take care.